Hello, you're watching Shalom World News. I'm David Kerr from Glasgow in Scotland, and these are your latest news headlines from around the world. The Vatican has published a list of Pope Francis's public masses for the month of July and August. The only official celebration of a papal mass to take place this month will be a mass upon the World Day for Grandparents and the Elderly in Rome on July the 23rd. Meanwhile, next month we'll see the Holy Father travel to Portugal for World Youth Day in Lisbon. During his 4-day stay in Portugal, Pope Francis will also visit Fatima, where the Blessed Virgin Mary appeared to 3 shepherd children in 1917. The Pope previously visited Fatima back in 2017. This week's Independence Day celebrations in the United States coincided with a series of mass shootings across the country. In total, 10 people were killed and 38 injured in 3 separate shooting incidents. In the Texan city of Fort Worth, 3 people were killed and 8 were injured in a shooting after a festival. In Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, 5 people lost their lives and 2 were injured. Meanwhile, the day before saw 2 people killed and 20 others suffer injuries during a shooting at a block party in Baltimore in Maryland. A coalition of pro-life groups is urging Republicans in the US House of Representatives to revoke a Department of Defense policy allowing female military personnel time off and travel compensation to have an abortion. Nearly 50 think tanks and activist groups are accusing the administration of President Joe Biden of politicizing the Defense Department by using public dollars to pay for abortions. They are now asking the Republican majority in the House of Representatives to amend the National Defense Authorization Act, which sets the US defense budget in order to, they say, ensure that the US military are winning actual wars rather than fighting culture wars. The Vatican has released a new ethics handbook for big businesses and the tech sector. The 140-page manual is entitled Ethics in the Age of Disruptive Technologies, an operational roadmap. It's been produced by the Vatican's Dicastery for Culture and Education. It observes that technologies such as artificial intelligence and digital surveillance have implications for the entire human society. This means, says the guide, that the tech sector and big businesses cannot overlook ethical considerations when developing their projects, goods and services. The White House is using artificial intelligence to promote a woke ideology. That's a claim by the conservative watchdog group, the American Accountability Foundation. The organisation's president, Tom Jones, says the present US administration is trying to rig AI under the guise of combating what the White House labels as algorithmic discrimination and harmful bias. Mr. Jones says his group's request for comment from the White House has so far gone unanswered. A number of funerals are taking place in the Holy Land after 2 days of clashes between Palestinian fighters and Israeli troops in the Jenin refugee camp in Gaza. In total, 12 Palestinians and 1 Israeli soldier have been killed since Monday. Israeli drones carried out airstrikes while troops engaged in firefights with armed Palestinians. Israel's military described the events as a counter-terrorism operation, while the Palestinian Foreign Ministry said it was, quote, an open war against the people of Jenin. In the early hours of Wednesday, Israel carried out airstrikes in Gaza in response to rocket fire. According to the Israeli military, 5 rockets were fired from Gaza, with all being intercepted. No injuries were reported. Meanwhile, earlier on Tuesday, 7 people were hurt in a car ramming and stabbing attack in Tel Aviv. Restrictions on abortion in the state of Texas resulted in nearly 10,000 extra live births in 8 months. That's according to a peer review research just published by the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health in Maryland. They estimate that the change in Texan abortion law in 2021, which tightened up laws surrounding abortion, saved 9,799 unborn lives between April and December 2022. At least 150 Christians were killed in Nigeria's Plateau state in the first 3 weeks of June. That's according to the state's governor. Local news sources seem to blame the Islamist Fulani militants for the deaths. Meanwhile, the Archbishop of the capital city of Abuja says he fears the nation's leaders may not truly want to address factors that are behind violence and criminality in the West African nation. Archbishop Ignatius Ayu Kaigama says that if the leaders really want to tackle issues such as poverty and crime, they must choose the interests of ordinary Nigerians over personal interests and ambitions. A leading Spanish cleric says the country's politicians have to address the nation's demographic decline. Speaking ahead of this month's Spanish general election, Archbishop Luis Arguello of Valladolid points out that the average age of the Spanish population is now 44 years old, while the average number of children per woman is only 1.09. Hence, Archbishop Arguello is calling for new political proposals that favour life. A rally to celebrate the life and legacy of Venable Fulton Sheen is to be held this Sunday in his home state of Illinois. Archbishop Sheen was one of the most popular Catholic evangelists of the 20th century and was well known for his radio broadcasts, television series and multiple books. He was scheduled to be beatified in 2019, but that beatification ceremony was postponed. This weekend's rally at the Annunciation Byzantine Church in Homer Glen, Illinois, hopes to reignite the beatification process through prayers and a new public petition. Well, that's all your headlines for now. Do join me for more tomorrow. You can also join us at swnews.org for news updates. Shalom.